Hey, what's up, everybody? This is B&J Productions. I'm Jacob, and this is Brandon, and we're doing our Week 5 picks. First off, for college football, we've got the game day, where college game day is this week. Number 19, Texas versus 7, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is an 8-point favorite. Who do you got here, Brandon?
Right here, I like Texas, but I think that Oklahoma is just too good this year for Texas. I think it's not going to be a blowout, but it's not going to be a close game.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to try to pick Texas here because I really don't like doing that, but I mean, they have a lot of good things going on right now. Tom Herman's not the best coach in the world, but I think they're going to take Oklahoma by surprise. I don't think Oklahoma thinks very much of Texas here, but Texas always elevates their game to a different level when they're playing Oklahoma, and even with a decent team, I think they're going to do it even more. I mean, Kyler Murray's a good quarterback, but I think Texas is just going to bring something that Oklahoma doesn't have here, and that's a little bit of more fire than Oklahoma, so I'm going to have to say Texas here. Up next, we got number 5, LSU versus number 22, Florida. LSU is a 2.5-point favorite. Me and Brendan are both very high on LSU, and what do you got in this game?
LSU by far. I don't think Florida even deserves that 22. I think that they're a little bit overrated. I think LSU is about where they should be. They're a really great team this year. Not overrated, not underrated. I take LSU winning this game.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with LSU here. I don't think Florida's as severely overrated. They've done a pretty good job this year, but I think LSU is a little underrated. I mean, they played really well. I think they're going to try and have the closest opportunity to knock off Bama, but that's just my opinion, and I got to say LSU in a big game here too. Up next, we got number 13, Kentucky versus Texas A&M. A&M is a 5.5-point favorite. Of course, it's at Kyle Field, and that's a whole nother dimension, and Clemson was really close to losing that game a couple weeks back, and I got to go with A&M here.
I know that you were an A&M fan, but I want Kentucky to have its shine, and I want Kentucky to shine in the light it has right now. They never get to be good, and I hope they can beat A&M because I want them to be good for once.
I do too, but Kentucky hadn't played a coach like Jimbo Fisher yet, and I think it's going to kind of take Kentucky a step back, but
do I think Kentucky's going to win? No. Do I hope they win? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, A&M's already lost twice, probably two of the best teams in the league. Clemson and Alabama, but I think Jimbo's and Kellen Mond are just going to take it to Kentucky, kind of take them by surprise. They haven't played in Kyle Field. Kentucky hasn't, or played in a stadium or an atmosphere like Kyle Field, so I think it's going to kind of shock them a little bit, and that's why A&M is a 5.5-point favorite. Up next, we got Florida State versus number 17, Miami. Miami is a 13.5-point favorite, and I think Miami's going to really whoop Florida State, and Florida State's showing that they're not a good program anymore after Jimbo left.
I think these are two programs that aren't what they used to be. I want to root for Miami every year. They disappoint me every year, but I have to say Miami this game. I just don't think Florida State is up to it this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Up next, we got kind of a low-class Big 12 matchup, Kansas State versus Baylor. Baylor is a 4.5-point favorite as they're playing in Waco this week. Kansas State often one of the worst teams in the Big 12 this year. Probably Iowa State I'd give that title, but I got to go with Baylor here.
I got to go with Baylor too. Baylor's at home. Both pretty bad football teams.
Yeah.
Snorefest probably.
I don't see anything good going on with Kansas State right now, and they barely lost against Texas, but that was because Texas' special team kind of took it to them, and kind of really good defensive game last week, but I think Baylor's going to get it easy here. Kansas State, I'm not a fan of, and so I just think that's going to be pretty much a walkover for Baylor.
Yep.
Up next, number 8, Auburn versus Mississippi State. Auburn is a 4-point favorite. They lost 2 weeks ago against LSU. Mississippi State, they lost last week too. I think to LSU, man. Nick Fitzgerald of Mississippi State is going to try and knock off Jared Stidham. And number 8, Auburn. What do you think, Brennan?
I'm going to have to take Auburn here. I think that Auburn is just too good of a team not to win. I love to see underdogs beat somebody, but I think Auburn by quite a bit.
We're both a little bit off in our Syracuse pick over Clemson this week, but I think this is probably my biggest upset game this week. But I got to go with Auburn too. I think it's going to be really close. Nick Fitzgerald is going to try to prove something here, but I think Auburn's got it here. Okay, our next game is Maryland versus number 15 Michigan. Michigan is 17.5-point favorite. They lost to Notre Dame first week of the season. They're undefeated since then, and Michigan and Shea Patterson kind of clicking a little bit more than they did the first game. But who you got here, Brandon?
I want to say Michigan here. I want to see them turn it around and be the football program that I know they have. They have talent. I just need them to click, and I think they win this game if they figure it out.
Okay, I'm going to use my upset pick here, and I'm going to pick Maryland here. They won against Texas, and I think Texas is kind of a better team than Michigan right now. And I think John Harbaugh is a severely overrated coach. He did great things with San Francisco, but I think that was mostly because of Frank Gore and Colin Kaepernick. But I got to go with Maryland here. I think they're going to kind of shock people. Michigan is 17.5-point favorites, which is kind of absurd. So I'm got to go with Michigan here. And then our last game for college football, we got number 6 Notre Dame versus number 20 Virginia Tech. Notre Dame won last week against Stanford in a close game. Virginia Tech lost one game, but they beat Florida State earlier in the year. Kind of a sloppy game there. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite. Who you got, Brennan?
I'm going to have to say Notre Dame. I haven't really seen much from Virginia Tech that amazes me this year. I think the games that they've won haven't been really great wins. I think there's a lot to improve. They can be better than they are, but I don't see them turning it around this week. I see Notre Dame taking it to them.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Notre Dame and the way they're playing right now. They've played close games. They fought tough. The defense is keeping them in this game. But, I mean, they played incredible against Stanford last week, and I got to give them that win here. Easy over Virginia Tech. I'm a big fan. I think they're going to make the college football playoffs, along with 2 teams from the SEC and either Ohio State, Penn State, or Clemson. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of Notre Dame, and I think it's going to be a pretty crazy game, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame here. And up next, we got our NFL games, and we're recording this Thursday, so we don't know the results of the Thursday night game between the 1-3 Colts versus the 2-2 Patriots, and New England is a 10-point favorite, and I got to go with the Patriots easy here.
I got to go with the Patriots, too. I think the Patriots, they just have a lot more talent than the Colts.
Yeah.
They need to turn things around, though, but I think they just have a lot more.
Yeah, and they shut out the Dolphins last week and kind of proven something. Hey, they have bad Septembers. It happens almost every year, but New England's still New England, so I got to go with them here. Yep. Next, we got 2 kind of sloppy teams that should be at the top of the pack, but the 1-3 Falcons and the 1-2-1 Steelers are playing in. It's a Pittsburgh favorite, 3.5 points, and both teams are doing pretty much awful right now, and but the Steelers are kind of doing a little bit worse. So I'm going to go with Matt Ryan and the Falcons here.
Both these teams, all I've seen so far is really messy play.
Yeah,
it's like they can't even execute their own plays. It's pretty bad out there for both these teams. I don't know how they even have wins this year so far. But I'm going to say Steelers this year because I think the Steelers have it a little bit more under control than the Falcons. I think it's ridiculous that Julio Jones does not have any touchdowns at all so far.
Yeah, okay. And so our next game, kind of the game of the week, the 3-1 Jacksonville Jaguars versus the 4-0 Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is 3-point favorites. Patrick Mahomes at the top of the MVP race. Had an incredible game last week. Only got sacked once by the Broncos. And just kind of a really big game here against the best defense in the league versus the best offense. Who you got here, Brandon?
Again, I got the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs are easily the best team in the league this year with Patrick Mahomes. He elevates them a lot farther than they are. I'm going to say what I said again last week, which was kind of wrong, but I just don't think Patrick Mahomes is too athletic. There's no way you can sack him. I don't see any way you can stop him besides good coverage. And even then, you better have a spy because he can run it.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to have to go with the Jaguars here. The Chiefs haven't played a really amazing defense. They played a pretty good one against the Broncos last week, and it took until the second half of the game for them to get going. And I think this Jaguars defense is just too good for Patrick Mahomes to be able to put up the numbers he's been putting up. I think it's going to be close. And, I mean, Leonard Fournette is out against the Jaguars, but T.J. Yeldon's going to step up. Blake Bortles has always stepped up when Leonard Fournette has been out, especially in the Patriots game 2 weeks ago, and I think the Jaguars are going to get the win here, kind of humble Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's going to have a bad game, but I don't necessarily think he's going to have a straight-up amazing game.
I'm ready to see if Jalen Ramsey can keep up with Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely the biggest matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we got the 3-1 Baltimore Ravens versus the 2-1 Cleveland Browns. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite, and the Ravens are back and they're better than ever. And I think Joe Flacco isn't playing as good, but I mean he's still playing what he needs to be playing. I mean he's putting in. Defense is doing great. Running game is going well. Everything's doing good in Baltimore, so I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens here in a close one.
I want to say Browns here. I really do want to say Browns here as much as I feel like I shouldn't. I hope the Browns win, and I'm going to say I think the Browns will win this game. One of my upsets this week.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a really close game, but the Ravens, John Brown and Michael Crabtree, the receivers for the Baltimore Ravens, have just been doing too good for anybody to stop them, really, and I think it's going to be close, but the Ravens are going to get it. We got another game, the 3-1 Dolphins versus 3-1 Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 6-point favorites, and I think the Bengals are doing better than what they've ever have been so far in this league in the Marvin Jones era. And I think is that right? Andy Dalton, sorry. Andy Dalton has been doing really good so far this year. AJ Green has been phenomenal, and I think I've got to go with the Bengals here too.
Both these teams, I think, play the same style of football, whereas they don't have crazy athletic all-stars. They don't have Odell Beckham Jr. on their team.
AJ Green is up there.
Yeah, but I see both these teams, I think, are good because they're both cohesive units. I think I'm going to have to pick Dolphins this week, though.
Okay.
I like them a little bit better.
Okay, in our next game, we got the 2-1 Vikings versus the 2-2 Eagles. Philly is a 3-point favorite, and the team who loses here is going to be in a little trouble going into this. So this is a must-win game for both teams. The Vikings have done pretty good, but they lost to the Bills 2 weeks ago, and I mean it's been crazy. They haven't won since week 1. Lost in a close game against the Rams. I think the Vikings are a really good team and a little better than what their record is saying, and so I got to go with the Vikings here, but I think the Eagles can keep it close.
I think this is game of the week because this is two really great teams that are off to slow starts right now. I think both teams are going to be duking it out to see who can turn around their slow start.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be almost a playoff caliber matchup right now. I think this is a really good game. I'm going to say Vikings.
Okay. And then we got a Sunday night football between the 2-2 Dallas Cowboys versus the 1-3 Houston Texans. Houston is a 3.5-point favorite. They finally won last week against the Colts. Cowboys won against the Lions, and the offense was finally clicking for the Cowboys, and it was finally looking better. They just need to feed Zeke, get him the ball more and more and more, and J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney are going to be tough to stop on the defensive side of the ball, but I got to go with the Cowboys here.
I think both these teams have a really good set of talent. I think the Cowboys have one of the best running backs in the league, and the Houston Texans have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And right now, this is a tough game too. I think this is going to be a good game. I'm just going to say Cowboys because I'm a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson had a really good week last week, but he had some trouble in the past weeks, and Byron Jones is playing as the best cornerback in the league right now, and he's going to shut out DeAndre Hopkins. So I am not worried about what the Cowboys are going to do this week. I'm actually severely confident in them. And so I think the Cowboys are going to win this game in a close one. Up next, we got the 2-1 Washington Redskins versus the 3-1 New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 6.5-point favorite. Their only loss is to the Buccaneers when they were doing really good the first week. But, I mean, Saints, Drew Brees is doing better than ever. I'm thinking he just gets better with age, kind of like Tom Brady and the Redskins. Alex Smith, kind of a dry team, but still kind of did good so far. Who you got here?
I'm going to say Saints. I think the Saints are low-key one of the best teams in the NFL this year, and I like what I see from them this year. I think that they're another team that has a cohesive unit, but the thing with that is they also have an all-star in Drew Brees that leads the team. So I'm going to say Saints right here, and I'm going to say that the Saints could be a real force in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go with the Saints just because it's in New Orleans and Drew Brees is playing at such an exceptional level that it's not even going to be fair for the Redskins to keep up. And yeah, so I just got to get the Saints here. And all right, that's been all of our picks. I'm Jacob. This is Brandon. This has been B&J's Productions Weekly Picks. And have a great weekend and be safe.